Thanks for joining us for the Member xCite presentation. The Member xCite presentation is informative, interesting to the audience, and showcases the strengths of the presenter as an entrepreneur and their area of expertise. It's not a sales pitch, it's a 10-minute educational and insightful exploration into what they do. And of course, it's exciting.
And today we have an absolute cracker, as we've already heard, thrown in the deep end. But most importantly, he's going to be amazing, I am sure. Steve Sandor, mate, great to have you here. Really appreciate you jumping in at the last minute, and you're here for your xCite presentation on making better decisions. How much we actually need to do that. Mistakes are only decisions that are made without not enough information. Steve Sandor of Inspiring Businesses shares the three-layer decision-making process for business owners to make better decisions. For those of you who don't know Steve's passion and purpose to make a difference in the lives of others. He's a father of four, grandfather, he's a golfing nut, motorbike riding enthusiast, and prepared to try anything once, except skydiving. Mates, got to try the skydiving. That's one thing you've got to do. Steve uses his over 35 years of management experience from a diverse range of industries in Australia and overseas to now support small business owners in scaling their businesses. Steve says businesses are made up of product, processes, and people, and it's getting the people right and the result, and that gets the best results.
That intro that Kel wrote was for an xCite that I did at East Brisbane. I'm going to slightly change it up a little bit to bring it more into around how two people can communicate with each other when it comes to where they have different opinions. So it's a model that was developed by Darren Sherlaw back in 2000. Darren was one of the very first people in the Australian coaching space. He now lives in the UK and is running from the Taxman. So, but his models are really good. And it's called Content Context. And the premise of it is that context gives content meaning. And what do I mean by that? So if you have a particular opinion, and we have this cognitive bias that we all know of, right? And the echo chambers that we currently have in different forums where people are just talking about their opinion and they're attracting people who have the similar type of view of the world, and all they're doing is they're hearing their own message coming back to them in this echo chamber. That serves no one that doesn't help anybody when we're all listening to ourselves in the mirror. So what this does is it enables you to find a context where there is a difference of opinion, or and everybody's got an opinion, right? And your opinion is right because it's your opinion. You have a belief and it was formed over a number of years, and who's for me to say that your opinion is wrong? It's just your opinion. It might be different to my opinion. And so when you're in those conversations, and it might be a strategy meeting where you both disagree on the direction. It may be at a personal level where you have different beliefs and you're arguing over those two different beliefs. Then what this does is it enables you to find a context that you can both agree upon. Now, let me give you an example of that. I was married for 18 years, Debbie, my wife, 4 children. We had a wonderful marriage. We were madly in love. We met, and 6 weeks later we were engaged, and 18 years of marriage. So wonderful. Majority of it was a wonderful experience. We came up against some really difficult times as a family, and we tried to work our way through solving that. And we were very fortunate and blessed that we had a counselor who we went to, and the brief was fix it or forget it. And we worked over a 12-month period to try and find some reconciliation in it. And we both came to, and there were moments where we actually thought, we can save this. And then we both came to the realization that we both love each other, but we're just not in love with each other. And then that was the point where we went, you know what, we're much better off as individuals, and our family is far better off if we were to make a separation. The advice that we got from our counselor at that point in time was, from this point onwards, every decision that you make has to be in the interest of the children. That was the context in which we could both move forward with. And there were times when it was really difficult for both of us, you know, through that initial period when you're looking for legal advice on how to break up the marriage, or how to break up the assets that we both owned. And Deb got some advice from a lawyer, a friend of ours, who said, yeah, I can take Steve for everything that he's got. And she said, are you crazy? I'm not trying to bury the man. I just want to make sure that I get my fair share. And that was the context, because she realized that if she buried me, I couldn't support her, which was my intention. So that's just an example where we both had, and there were many times through the past, we've been separated now, divorced now for 8-10 years. We still have a wonderful relationship. I was down at her house sitting and dog sitting for her. So, you know, we have Christmas together. And it was because we had this ability to see a common context and move forward in a common direction that it prevented us from fighting over the content. And there were times when it was financially difficult for me and financially difficult for her. But when we both came together and we said, this decision is in the best interest of our children, it made sense to us that we would move forward. In a business context, it's exactly the same thing. You might have staff that have a different opinion to you, or you may have a business partner that you have different opinions to. And it's where you come together and have different views of the world. That's where you're looking for what might be the context that you can operate on. So it might be, you know, the operations person has got a particular view of the world in terms of operations, and the finance person has got their view, and they just don't see eye to eye. But when you build into the context, there's like every decision that we have to make has to be in the interest of our customer. So that you now no longer are the center of the universe. You are now someone who you're looking externally. So it requires an element of vulnerability for you. You have to appreciate that someone else may have an opinion. You have to be open to see what the other person's view might be, to be vulnerable to that, because if you just dig your heels in and you are not prepared to listen, you might not agree, but you can appreciate what the other person's opinion is. And when you get to that point where it is, okay, we don't agree on the content, however, we can agree on the context, that's when things move forward. I think I'm done. Hopefully that gives people some thinking, as you move forward. It's really useful. I think it's really useful when you believe that your opinion is the only truth, and being judged, and then coming into a situation where someone has a completely different view. And then what you're able to do is, because you are open to that, because you are looking for a context, sometimes what happens is that you realize that maybe my opinion is based on something, that shouldn't be based on that.
Mate, some absolutely wise words there, mate. Absolutely love that. So got some little bit of time here. If anybody wants to go down to the reaction center, stick your hand up if you've got any questions or anything for Steve or Andy's presentation. I'm sure there's quite a few people you've actually, they're all thinking at the moment. How's that reflect upon my life?
Yeah, awesome stuff. Thank you. Love to have a chat to you more about that, Steve. It really resonated with the missing gaps in what I do and connect with. Talk to you more. Thank you.
Yeah, happy to do that, Derek. Thanks. What taught me a lot about, I knew about that concept, about that model, as I said, in 2000. Where it was really useful was when I was working in Papua New Guinea, where the cultures were very different, and it opened up my eyes. It gave me the tools to be able to open up my eyes and see people in a different light.
Exactly. Any other questions? Well, thank you, Steve, mate. That was an absolute cracker.
I think Jay had his hand up.
I think Jay might have had his hand up.
Yeah, I missed that one. Jay?
Just have to unmute yourself, Jay.
I'll be really quick. Sorry. Sorry about that, Gil.
You're right.
Steve, I just wanted to see, I see some correlation here between also customer business relationship as well as to getting really clear on the context that we're working on and not having this battle of subjective opinion around what either looks in marketing world as the other marketers will say, you know, what looks good or what feel, and more about what the transformation we're taking that customer on. Is that something that you see a lot of as well? Is that sort of overlap onto customer relationships too?
Yeah, Jay, really good question. It starts with, you can't have those difficult conversations unless you have a strong relationship with somebody. That's, you know, what we're doing here is what we're trying to do is build relationships with people, not have it transactional, right? So the more you spend time in getting to know, like, and trust the individual, but getting to know, like, and trust their product and the delivery of that product, that gives you the confidence so that when the difficult conversation does come along, you can have that difficult conversation about, look, I'm doing this, I'm giving you this advice, not because I want to sell a product, because it's the right thing for you to do. Now, let me understand what your opinion is. Why is it that you have those beliefs? And then you come up with sometimes you just can't get past that. Right? Sometimes the reality is, and we both agree to disagree. It's been very rare that that's actually happened, though, because when you find that higher context, is that what we're trying to do is, in business talk, it's purpose. What's your purpose? Is this what we're doing driving us towards your purpose? And does it have the impact that we want to have? And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe my view of the world is, okay, how is this not delivering? How is this marketing strategy or these graphics or whatever? How is this not serving that purpose? So I need to understand that, because I have a particular opinion, but I need to understand why you feel as though it doesn't go that way. Right? So then you start to get into that. I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. So convince me.